Egyptian President Abdel Fattah El-Sisi arrived in Turkey on Wednesday, marking his first official visit to the country since relations between Cairo and Ankara began to improve after years of strained ties. The visit is seen as a significant diplomatic gesture following the long-standing tensions between the two regional powers. El-Sisi received a warm welcome from Erdoğan, who met him at Ankara airport on Wednesday. The two leaders then traveled together in the same car to the presidential palace for around 2 hours of talks. At the press conference which followed the meeting, both presidents stressed the importance of establishing a permanent ceasefire in Gaza and ensuring the uninterrupted delivery of humanitarian aid to the war-torn region.
Turkey and Egypt have a common stance on the issue of Palestine. Ending the genocide that has been going on for 11 months, establishing a permanent ceasefire as soon as possible, and the unhindered flow of humanitarian aid continue to be our priorities. Israel and its supporters are responsible for every innocent death due to hunger, thirst, or lack of medicine.
Egyptian President Abdel Fattah El-Sisi echoed the unified stance between Egypt and Turkey on Gaza, calling for an immediate ceasefire and a return to the pre-1967 borders to re-establish Palestine as an independent state.
I would like to emphasize the unified stance of Egypt and Turkey in calling for an immediate ceasefire, rejecting the current Israeli escalation in the West Bank, and advocating for the initiation of a process that fulfills the aspirations of the Palestinian people to establish their independent state on the borders of June 4, 1967, with East Jerusalem as its capital.
El-Sisi also mentioned that both leaders exchanged views on the Libyan crisis and discussed ways to achieve political stability in the country.
We exchanged views on the Libyan crisis and agreed on consultation between our institutions to achieve security and political stability in Libya, emphasizing the importance of closing this prolonged chapter by holding simultaneous presidential and parliamentary elections, the withdrawal of unlawful foreign forces and mercenaries from the country, and ending the phenomenon of armed militias. This will enable our brotherly Libya to put an end to the division and achieve security and stability.
The duo also discussed the Syrian crisis and how to maintain calm in the eastern Mediterranean region. El-Sisi's visit to Ankara represents a major step in advancing these efforts. Accompanied by a large delegation of Egyptian officials and businessmen, both presidents expressed optimism about boosting trade and cooperation between the two nations.
We are determined to strengthen our consultative position with Egypt, with whom we have similar points of view and goals on many issues. God willing, we will have closer cooperation from now on. We will take our multidimensional relations forward with a win-win approach.
This meeting between El-Sisi and Erdoğan follows a gradual rapprochement between Egypt and Turkey, which had been at odds since the ousting of Egypt's Islamist president Mohamed Morsi in 2013. The thaw in relations became evident earlier this year when Erdoğan made his first visit to Egypt in over a decade. During that visit, the two leaders agreed to reappoint ambassadors and announce plans to increase bilateral trade to $15 billion. In a symbolic moment of reconciliation, Erdoğan and El-Sisi were photographed shaking hands during the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, signaling the start of a new chapter in Egyptian-Turkish relations. Since then, ties have steadily improved, culminating in the current high-profile visit. As tensions in Gaza continue to escalate, the two leaders have found common ground in advocating for peace and humanitarian relief for Palestinians. The visit is being viewed as a positive development not only for Egyptian-Turkish relations, but also for broader Middle Eastern diplomacy. Both countries, as regional powerhouses, are expected to play crucial roles in shaping the future of the Middle East, particularly in conflict zones like Gaza and Libya.